to my YouTube channel. It's me, your beautiful girl IJ, and here is IJ Designs. On today's tutorial, I'm going to show to you guys how I made this peplum top that I rocked on my birthday. It's one of the clothes that I rocked on my birthday. My birthday is so special to me, so I made a lot of clothes that I rocked on that day. So I'm going to show to you guys how I achieved this peplum top. And the peplum is 1080 degrees peplum. We always hear about 360, 720, 1440, but today I made a peplum of 1080 degrees peplum. So I'm going to show to you guys how I achieved this peplum top, and it has a sweetheart cape. So I'm going to show to you guys step by step. It's so easy, so just sit down and watch with me. So for my new subscribers, I'm so grateful for you all. I say thank you to you all for subscribing and trusting in me. My old subscribers, you are the best. I'll continue sharing my knowledge on this channel. So without wasting much time, let's dive into the tutorial. Now I'm going to explain to you guys what we are going to see on this top. This top, the length is 23-24. It's a little bit longer than my hip. That's my hip is 22, but I made it 23-24. So let's assume that it's 24 inches. So the upper part of the blouse is from the shoulder to the half length, but it's an off shoulder. So from the shoulder to half length is 16.5 inches. 16.5 inches is my top. 16.5 inches is the top. So now minus this 16.5 from the 23 inches of the blouse. Let it be 23 inches. So 23 minus 16.5, I'm going to be left with 6.5 inches. So this peplum length is going to be 6.5 inches. And this 6.5 inches, I need 1 inch for the upper and the lower part of it for seam allowance. That is 7.5. So let us make it a round number to 8 inches. So the length of the peplum that I'm going to use is 8 inches. Both seam allowance and the length is 8 inches. So this is the 8 inches. And now, how did I achieve my 1080 degrees peplum? I divided my waist by 3. So by dividing my waist by 3, it means that I'm going to cut this peplum in 3 pieces. That is how I achieved the 1080 degrees peplum. Dividing my waist by 3. My waist is 32. So 32 divided by 3. 32 divided by 3, I'm going to have 10.6 inches. So I add on each of these peplum 2 inches, making it 12 inches. So this 12 inches, I'm going to divide it by 6.28. That is a standard way of dividing a peplum, a circle peplum, a full circle peplum, to get your actual opening of your waist. So I'm going to divide this 12 inches by 6.28. So what do I have? After dividing it, I have 1.9. Just call it, I have 2 inches. So take these 2 inches that I have now as my opening of the peplum, add it to the 8th of the length of the peplum. So I'm going to have 10. So altogether is 10 inches that I'm going to have. So let us now draft out the peplum. Now this is my lining. I'm going to use this lining first to cut one of the peplum, and from there I'll cut the rest of the lining and also the material. So this, I fold it first in two. Then I measure it to see that it's enough for the 10 inches. It's enough. Then I fold it back again in this way. That is the way to fold it, to get your circle. This is how to fold it. Now I measure out 10. I measure throughout 10. I'll measure round 10. Now I have cut it out. This is the 10. Remember, the upper part of it, I'm going to take out 2 inches. That is the circumference of my waist. That is the 2 inches of the circumference of my waist. I'm going to take it out. Now this is the 2 inches. So I'm going to use this to cut out more 2 of this, making it 3. And also I will use it to cut out the main fabric. Rest of the lining, can you see it? The 3 pieces of the lining, I've cut it out. And that's also the peplum, the 3 of it. That is my material. I've cut it out. So now our peplum is ready. I'm going to keep it aside. Later, I'll show you how I have to couple it up. Now I'm going to use my already drafted off-shoulder pattern. I've showed to you guys how to draft an off-shoulder pattern. You can check other of my videos where I gave a full detail of how to draft it out. So you can check it. So I will now use this to cut out my upper part of my blouse. Now I have cut out my blouse, that the upper part of it. I have cut it out with my already drafted paper. I've cut it out. That's the center part of it. That's the middle part of it. And that's another center. That's another center part of it. Now the part is ready. I've cut it out also with the lining. Can you see it? I have cut it out with the lining. This is the front part of my blouse. This is the front part of my blouse. I've cut it out. And also the lining. I have also cut out the lining. You can see the lining. And that's the back part of it. I have also cut it out. Also with the lining. I have cut it out also with the lining. That's the lining of the back part. And that's the material of the back part. I have cut them out. So now it is time to fix the upper part of the blouse. Then we'll now go to the peplum. Remember, I love padding my blouse. So I'm going to pad it. I'm going to pad my blouse. After padding it, I'll show it to you guys. Then we will now fix it up. Now I have padded the front part of the blouse we are making. I've padded it. As you can see it, I have padded it. And also before padding it, I also added a little bit of gum stay. It makes it to look more beautiful and balanced. So that is why I love to add gum stay to my clothes before I pad. So now it's ready. And also the lining, I've also added a little bit of gum stay to make them a little bit strong. So now it is time to join them together. I love starting from the down part of it. Just take it like this, pin it up in this form till you get to here. I'm going to do that, take it to my machine, then I will sew it. Then after sewing it, I also sew the lining together at the front and the back. I'll also couple them together, then I'll show it to you guys. Now the front panel have been joined together. Do you see I padded it? Do you see how it looks? So now it has been joined together. And also I've taken in the darts of the back panels. I've taken in the darts. And I did the same to the lining. And also the front lining, I also join it together. Now, the upper part of the blouse is almost ready. So we are going to keep it aside. Now, we'll get back to the peplum. Remember, the peplum, we divide our waist in 3. That is why it is 1080 degrees peplum. We divide it in 3. Now, it is time to fix the peplum together. Fix it together with the lining. But before fixing it, I want it to stand. So I'm going to use a hard gum stay. I want the peplum to stand, so I'm going to make use of this hard gum stay to add to the peplum because I want it to stand. Then after that, I'll fix it together, then I'll show it to you guys. Guys, the peplum is now ready. Do you see I said I wanted it to stand a little? So I added a gum stay, the hard gum stay. So now that's the peplum. I also top stitch after joining the lining and the main fabric together. I top stitch on the sides of the lining to make it look neat, and also I close up the two sides also to make it look neat. So the next thing now is to take the upper part of the blouse, join it together. I'll join the upper part of the blouse together. Then now determine the sleeve before the cape. You have to put the sleeve. You have to know how many inches that is left for you to put. Then we will now join the peplum, and after joining the peplum, we now join the cape. So now the first thing is to fix the upper part together, and I'll be back. Now the front and back panel have been fixed together. This is the back panel and this is the front panel. I have attached both of them together, and also the lining. Can you see? I've attached them together. Now the next thing to do is to fix the peplum. But before we fix the peplum, I'm also going to tell you how to determine the upper part of the sleeve itself, because as I said, it's going to be a sweetheart cape. But before you put the cape, you have to measure to know how many inches that is left on your shoulder to make the sleeve before you now put the cape. So now between the front panel here, I measured out. I saw that I have 10 inches on the front panel, and also on the back panel I have almost 10 inches. I have 9 inches, that is 19. And this 19 inches I have on both panels. I'm going to minus 2 inches for the seam allowance. So I'm going to be left with 17 inches. So my round shoulder measurement, like I always said, when you are doing it, you take your tape and put round to know your round shoulder measurement. You put it round, know how comfortable it is for you. My round shoulder measurement is 38. So 38 minus this 17 is going to give me 21 inches. 38 inches minus 17 inches, I'm going to be left with 21. And this 21 inches, I'll divide it in 2, which will give me 10.5. So each sleeve will be 10.5 inches that I'm going to add on this sleeve, and 10.5 inches. Remember your seam allowance, 1 inch, that is going to be 11.5 inches. So now I've also cut out the inches that I need for the sleeve. This is the little sleeve that I'm going to attach before putting the cape, because the cape is going to come up to the sleeve. Do you see it? So now I need 11.5, and I measured out the 11.5. But if you are doing it, you are going to do it on fold. So on fold, I came to call it 6 inches. Then I'm going to trim out ½ inch after I might have fixed it. So now I have my two sides. So this side is for one sleeve, and this one is also for one sleeve. That is the 11.5 inches. So I'm going to fix it to the sleeve before attaching the cape. So after that, after fixing the sleeve, just fix it, take it in this form, take it in this form, fix it in so. Do you see it? Fix it in this form in your blouse. I'm going to show it to you guys after I might have finished. Now the next thing is to attach our peplum. But before attaching the peplum, remember to trim off the excesses at the back that makes it sometimes to puff up after you might have inserted your zip. So don't forget to trim it off. And how do you do it? Just take the back panel. This is my back panel. Just take the back panel, go inside by ½ inch, and now connect it to the upper side and cut it out. It will prevent it from having the puff at the back. And also at the waist, remember the back waist is lesser than the front waist. So trim off 1 inch, depending on how many inches is difference between your back waist and your front waist. So which I have done. Now the next thing is to attach the peplum. Just open it up in this form. Then I have taken the middle. This is the middle. I have notched the middle. Can you see it? I notched the middle here. Then I will now take my peplum, which I have also notched the middle. Then I'll right side facing each other. Can you see it? That's the middle of the peplum. Then I'll take it and attach it in this form. Do you see it? I will attach it in this form. Then I'll run it with my machine. Then after which I'll come back to show to you guys how it looks. Guys, now I have fixed the peplum to the upper part of the blouse. Can you see it? And also attached the zip. It's an open-ended zip. I have attached the zip. The blouse is almost ready. And I've also fixed the sleeve that we will use to put on the cape. The sleeve. Remember how I achieved the sleeve? I have attached it also. So now the next thing is to cut out the sweetheart cape. Then we will now place it on the blouse and the blouse will be ready. I'm going to use this yellow material because the cloth is a combination of yellow. I'm going to use this to cut out the cape and then we will fix it to the blouse. But I'll show to you guys how to achieve the cape. Material, you fold it in bias form, not in straight form, but in bias form, so that you can get your sweetheart's neckline. So now, what is my round shoulder measurement? My round shoulder measurement is 38. 38 divided by 2, because I fold it in 2, is 19, plus 1 seam allowance for the zip line. That is 20. So I'm going to take my tape to measure out 20 inches. Now here is my 20 inches. Here is 20. From here to here is 20 inches. This is my 20 inches here and here. Let me give it a straight line. Remember, you are folding in bias form. So this is the 20. And how many inches do I want the length to be? I want the length to be 6. I want the length to be 6. So I have to mark 6 throughout. Now I'll also make it into a straight line. Now we have to cut it out, but if you want it, can you see now the sweetheart's neckline that I was talking about? Can you see it? Now we have to trim because it's going to be open in the front, so we have to trim off the upper part of it. You just have to trim it down to get to this point. Now I have also cut out the main material. I have cut it out. Can you see it? Do you see how it is now? Can you see it? But because it's going to be open, I will trim it down a little bit and come to this place. I will trim it because I want it to be open. I want here to open. So I'm going to trim it down. So how do you trim it? Just take take the lining also, both of them, and trim it together. So I'm going to trim it, just trim it down from this place. Just give it a little bit of curve. Just give it a little bit of curve. A sweetheart curve. You see it? Now I can cut here open. Also the lining open. So now the next thing to do is to put gum stay. I want to put gum stay to the lining. Then I will now fix both the lining and the main material together, and after that we will see how it will be on. This cape is divided into two. Now I have sewn this front and the back part of the cape together. Can you see it? Remember the sweetheart we gave to it, because we want the front side to have a sweetheart. So now how do you fix it? From this sweetheart on your own blouse, mark 1.5 inch to both sides. Then you have to also place this, and here I marked 3 inches from both sides from the cape, and also close up a little bit here, but here I did not close up. A little bit from this edge, this point, I close up to 3 inches. Can you see it? I mark 3 inches here. I mark 3 inches from this place to this place. I mark 3 to 4 inches. Then here I now give it a mark. Then I will now take it like this. And remember, you have to close up here, because here is going to be open. From the 1.5 inch, you have to turn it over before you now close it. So you get your cape. This is the cape. From the 4 inches you have marked here, you place it to the 1 inside. Place it inside. From here, you will start sewing. You don't start sewing here. From here, the 4 inches, you start sewing it in this form, because the right side of the cape has to face the wrong side of the lining inside. You have to sew it inside out. So after you might have finished pinning it until you get to the back of the zip, then you now sew it. When you sew it, then you will turn it here. Remember, here it's not sewn. When you turn it over, you now carefully curve your V, as I curve it here. You curve it carefully. Do you see it now? When you carefully curve it, then you have your V sweetheart. Now I'm going to do it to the machine. Then I will show to you guys. Now guys, as you can see, the cape has been fixed. Do you see the sweetheart cape? Really, you have to take your time to achieve this. Don't be in a hurry, because you have to sew and you stop here 1.5 inch away from the V neckline, and also 1.5 inch away from this V neckline. Then you turn it gradually and you now sew under it. So you have to take your time to achieve this. Don't be in a rush. So do you see the cape? And look at the back. Do you see the back also? Do you see the top? The 1080 degrees top with sweetheart cape that we have just made is now ready. Guys, do you see how beautiful it looks? Now I'm going to put it on this mannequin for us to see how it looks like. Ready. The 1080 degrees peplum we have just made is now ready with the sweetheart cape. Can you see how beautiful it looks? Guys, this is the 1080 pieces peplum blouse we have just made with sweetheart cape. Can you see how beautiful it looks? I decided to add the rhinestone chain to it so that it will match it. It will match with the skirt we have just made. Can you see the skirt? Do you remember last time we made this skirt as matrix 6 pieces skirt? We've just made it, And also I linked in this video of the asymmetric how to cut and sew a 6-piece skirt, so that you can also use it to achieve this. Do you see how beautiful it looks? If this tutorial has been helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment on my videos, and also put on the notification bell that you will be the first to be notified. In this 2020, I have a lot to share with you guys. A lot is coming up in 2020. Love you guys. Remember, this is one of my birthday outfits. So please guys, join me to make one for yourself. Tag me on Instagram and on Facebook. I am there as IJ Designs Instagram, Facebook Ijoma Ozoma or Iconic IJ. I love you guys, and I'll continue to be sharing my knowledge with you. Love you. See you in my next video. Bye.